All right, guys. So this is the challenge. I would like you to try and create this kind of optical illusion. Now that you can create particle systems, now that you can occlude and find where the surfaces are, you actually do have all the keys to do this. And I strongly recommend that you don't check the solution until you figure this one out. All right, good luck. So how did it go? I hope you managed to do it, and if not, I hope you even tried to do this. This is how you will learn, not by just typing the same code as I do on the screen. You need to try and do it on your own. So if you haven't tried, uh, please stop the video now and have a go. This will really help you understand what you don't know actually. And then when you watch the solution, you will understand much better where you went wrong or which aspect you don't fully grasp. So let's start a new Xcode project. Choose augmented reality app, and I'm going to call this magic hole. Click next and save or create. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to clean up the view controller as usual. Okay, and we don't actually even need a scene to start with. That's just going to come by default with the scene view. First things first, let's add our configuration plane detection, and I just need horizontal really. I don't want these to appear on the wall because the smoke would just look weird. So let's now let's just create this directly in here. So we're going to reuse this ship, and that's going to be my magic hole.scn. In the hierarchy here, I can, or the scene graph, I can remove the ship mesh, and this will be renamed magic hole. Okay, so make sure you've got this and this selected, and then we can change here the environment or the background. Recenter. Okay, so now we can create our hole. First, actually, let me just first put some lights as we usually do. So directional light down and ambient light, which has a color that's about, yeah, 30% black. Okay, so let's now create the hole. So that's going to be made of 3 tubes. So 1 tube, and just drag and drop 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we can't see anything. Let me zoom out. Those 3 tubes are all going to be into the magic hole, and those 3 tubes are going to be resized. So the height is going to be 0.5. Then the inner radius is going to be different for all of them actually, but let's just do 0.2 and 0.21. Okay, and I'm just going to put them all exactly in the center, but we want this, so for the anchor we usually would have this on top of the flat surface here, but today we are doing the opposite. So I'm going to go down. So because this is 50 centimeter high, we need to go down 25 centimeter. Okay, so now if I look around, this looks like it starts and goes down. Good. Right, so let's rename those. So first, I'm going to have some sort of lip that will show us some kind of thickness of the ground. Then I'm going to have the darkness, and we can't really see the shape of that, so that's why it's just darkness. And then the tube here is going to be the occlusion. Okay, so the occlusion, actually, let's just first take care of this darkness. So darkness should be dark. I'm just going to put this as black. Then the lip is going to change because we don't need 0.5. We're actually going to need something like 8 centimeter high, which means that now the position is also wrong. We need to be at 0.04, which is then half of 8. And so this one is going to be visible and is going to be just slightly smaller, so just 1 millimeter smaller for the inner radius. And so far we can't really see much, so let me just make sure that this occlusion here doesn't write to red, blue, alpha, or green. Okay, so now, okay, we understand a little bit better what's going on. The occlusion obviously needs to have a rendering order here. That's going to be less than the other one, so if I put this at -1, I shouldn't be able, yeah, but they're the same size, so that's why we have a problem here. So the occlusion needs to be slightly bigger than the other one. And so I'm going to put here 0.201, and this is going to be 0.2. So 1 millimeter in thickness, and the darkness is going to be 0.2 and 0.0201. Okay, so I hope you follow, but we basically have our occlusion outside by 1 millimeter, then the darkness inside, so just 1 millimeter thick as well, but just slightly smaller. And then here, way too big, so this should be 0.2. Yes. Okay, so now we can see down, but if we look from here, this is completely occluded. Okay, great. So all we need now is that bottom to be filled. So two methods really. We could use a plane and have some edges to be rounded. So let me just show you both very quickly. First we have a plane, for example, like this, and so this is 0.2. Okay, so I'm going to do 0.2 and 0.2. 0.2. Okay, so then the corner radius, I'm going to put this at 1. So it's going to be the maximum radius we can, which makes it completely round. And oh yeah, actually, so that was the radius for 0.2. So I need 0.4 here. So that's double. So 0.4, 0.4. Okay, and then I can drag this down. Where is the end? That it's about here, so it doesn't need to be exactly at the bottom. It can be just a little bit before. And so I'm going to call this bottom, and I'm going to put this inside of my magic hole. And here I just make sure that it's completely centered as well. So 0, 0, not 0 here. That's going to be a minus 0. Let's say 49. And this 0. Okay, so yeah, we can still see that a little bit there. Okay, let's just make sure that everybody's. Oh yeah, the Z is minus 0, minus. Ooh. all of them except that one. Okay, so that's why I've got a problem here. This should all be 0. Okay. All right, so now we've got this, and we can just make this dark as well. So we can remove this. We already have a darkness material here. So I'm just going to select, double click. I can rename darkness. That's pretty much all we need. Okay, so yeah, that works. Next thing I want to do is to add some smoke that comes out of it. So I'm going to click on here and just select a new file and look for particle system. And I'm going to try and copy what Apple does to reproduce some smoke. Also, so smoke. I really wish we could just drag this inside of here like that. So it almost wants to, but it doesn't. That's really annoying. Hopefully we can do this soon. So here, if I look for a particle system, and I will add this in there manually. So right now it's a big mess. Let's just make this smaller. So 0.1. Yeah. Let's just, so this annoys me a lot. So let's just do 1. Okay. And that's not random. That's going to be constant and up. Okay, it's coming from a point. That's not good. I want this to come from, let's say, a tiny little cylinder like this. So the height of the cylinder is going to be quite small. Actually, let's just do a sphere. We'll build a sphere, and it's going to be a small sphere. Okay, so now the problem we'll have is that, so let's just call that smoke. I can see that smoke. That's not good. That's not what we want. It's also too big, too high. Okay, lots of things are not going well there. So first of all, I created this one here to have a look at all of that, and also to have access at this smoke.png that now I can reuse. So if I actually come and just drag those two in here, because they are assets after all. So yeah, this here I'm going to reuse in my particle system here. So see the image, that's going to be smoke. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. I can animate the color and make it white to start with. What else? Oops. So the rendering order should be -1, and I'm going to put this inside so it won't cast shadows. Any of those, actually none of those should cast any shadows, so I'm just going to put this, yeah, make sure they're all out, and that does not cast shadows either, although it doesn't have a geometry actually, so that shouldn't be a problem. The smoke should be at 0, and here we'll put 0 as well, so -40, yeah, that's just before the bottom. Let's just put 45. So it starts to look okay. It's still too large though, so let me create less and make them leave a bit longer. Okay, that starts to look good. The spreading angle, I can change this here as well. Not bad. And as we said, they are too big, so let's just reduce this. Oh my god, am I ever going to succeed there? Okay, so what else? Direction of that should be more like this. Okay, so now we start to understand a bit better. It looks, yeah, it looks okay. So let's spread that a bit more. Maybe make this a little bit bigger. You can obviously play with all of these yourself. Okay, so yeah, I think we pretty much got it now. That's what I love about particle systems. Every time I try and create something, it looks different. I can never create the same again, or I mean, I don't have the patience to look through all of these one by one. I should really, but hey ho. To be fair, I've got a screenshot that um, I took of all of this here, so I can put it on the side and check. So actually, where is it? Let me just open it. Right, so yeah, this is a particle system. That's the same as the one here that was created by Apple, Smoke. And you could just go like this and be like, okay, so this should be 20. This is 1, okay, but I don't want 1. So yeah, 5, we were about right there. Etc, etc, right? So, but I think this looks good. I think this looks all right. All we need to do is to add this now when we recognize that we have a plane, basically. So if you remember how to do this, did add. Let me just open this. Okay, so here we are going to call our node. Now, you may have tried and realized that there's a tiny little glitch for like a fraction of a second. ARKit or the camera feed stops, and that's not good. So let me just reproduce that, and then let me show you how we can fix it. So just need the root node, and we know for sure that ARKit did add an anchor here. Otherwise, this would not be called anyway, right? So what I'm going to do is just node.add child node, and this is going to be the hole. And this will work. However, this will call and create a hole everywhere if you look around. So I don't want this to happen. Just want it once, right? So we'll create a variable. It's just going to be a boolean to say is hole there. And if it's there, then we don't add it anymore. So it starts by being not true. The hole is not there. So in here, I can say if the hole is not, so hole is hole there. So if the hole is not there, then we want to do all of this. And then we want also is hole there to be true. And because this is true, this is not gonna run anymore. Build failed. Excellent. So what happens? What happened there? I didn't close this. Okay. Let me re-indent. So Control I and run this on my phone. Magic hole does not exist, so my bad. Sorry, guys. Capital. I think my shift key is has got some dust or something under, maybe a crumb or something. But yeah, it doesn't work as well. It's annoying. I have to press really hard with my pinky. That's just not good. Right. Okay, so start moving. Ah, and you've seen this little tiny little glitch. That wasn't great. Oh, the smoke looks like it's. That's an interesting one. I got it wrong on the smoke, didn't I? First try, is a bit of a failure. So what did I get wrong in this here? So let me just go back to that smoke. I think I put -1, and that's not what we needed. In here, yeah, I've got -1. I'm not sure why I've done that. It looks okay on the simulator though. That's weird. That's interesting. Okay. Let's just run, see if we have fixed this. Okay, so if I start looking, okay, yeah. I don't know why I did -1 there, that was stupid. Let's make this actually a little bit smaller. So the smoke here, I think the sphere is just a tiny little bit too big. Just need this a bit smaller. Yeah, okay, so all we need now is to avoid that glitch. And if we go back here to the view controller, the problem we have is that we're asking the app to create this just at the moment, at the same instant as we are detecting the plane. And that's why it's like, oh, wait a second, I need, or actually not wait a second, not wait half a second, but that's too much, right? We can't allow this. So I'm going to remove this from here. I'm going to create it as soon as the view did load. However, because we created in here in this function, we can't, you see we've got this, I don't know what a hole is here. So I'm going to remove this let here, and here I'm going to create this var hole, and here that's just going to be an empty node. scn node. Okay, so as soon as the view did load, we are starting to load this and to create that. So if I run now, as soon as this is detected, boom, it will add the node and it will know, yeah, this is the node I need to add. I've already pre-loaded that, so I'm ready. If I start moving, okay, the hole is here, and yeah, the edge is still not good. But I'm going to clean this up, and I will include this in the resources. So if you download the Xcode project that goes with this section, I'm going to fix this horrible edge here that looks, no, that just doesn't look good enough. All right, so that's it for this section. I hope you enjoyed it. We've learned quite a lot. Next time we're going to have a look at image detection.